My name is Desmond Ellis, Managing Director of Next to Nature Pets and Plants Limited. We are a nature lifestyle store. We sell plants for indoors, outdoors. We also sell pets, fishes, birds, hamsters, dogs. I have been doing this business actually from primary school, because sometimes when I meet some of my old classmates, they say, boy, Desmond, you couldn't do anything else because from primary school you did this. Because I've been selling them, like pigeon and barbel dove and little fishes and so. It's a love that has actually evolved into a business. We actually started a pet store first, where we only sold animals and animal supplies, aquarium supplies, birds, fishes, turtles, back when you could sell turtles, and so on. Then people kept on asking about plants, because plants would complement the pet side of it. And we eventually got into plants about 8 years ago. And thus it has evolved into this, where now the plant side has now outgrown the pet supply side, because there's a much wider market for people, having indoor plants, outdoor plants, people fixing up the gardens, fixing up the office, and things like that. In business, it's not always rosy and bright. There are ups and downs, there are challenges, staffing, money for expansion, working into the banks and all of those things. But we just keep pushing on. We keep pushing on and we keep, doing what we think is best for the customers first. And then if it's best for the customers, then, it's also best for us, because the customers are what keeps us going. My love of animals was my first inspiration to start the pet store, which I originally started with. And it eventually evolved into Next to Nature Pets and Plants, because the first name I had was Pets Unlimited, where we used to sell just pure pets. And when I went over into the plant section now, we changed the name from Pets Unlimited to Next to Nature Pets and Plants Limited. The first steps I took to get the business going was I got registered, and this is very important for people starting business. Try to be formal with what you're doing. Get registered. Try and get all your licenses and permits and so on. So the first step was going to company's office, and in those days started off first as trading as. Now we're a company. We eventually changed over as the years went by. We changed it over to Company Limited. But the first step was to get registered. Then I found a space in Papine to rent, right by the market there. And we rented that space for probably about 5 years or so before we moved down to Old Hope Road. My first major success, I think, as a business owner, getting something from the business was first car I bought, which actually back then was a VW, because that really helped in sourcing the goods and doing some deliveries and all of that. But that was my first real achievement. In the plant world, things are always changing. So we always have to try to keep up with it in terms of getting the new plants, new treatments for the plants in terms of fungicides and herbicides and fertilizers. Building the brand Next to Nature Pets and Plants has not been easy. It has been a struggle. There are rewards that we have gotten, and still more to come through customer service. I think customer service is tops in building a brand. Customer service, customer service, customer service. We try to deliver on that side of the business as much as we can. We try to be as knowledgeable as we can and impart as much knowledge when a customer asks, offer that knowledge about a product or a plant. Credit plays a big role in our business. Because from the very first time we started out, it was loans from the bank, and it has always been that way up to now. Everything new that we do or try to add on, it has been loans from the bank. The loan terms sometimes not really favorable, but we don't have no rich grandfather to turn to, so we just have to work and make the best of it all the time. But credit for small business, sometimes it's a lifeline. We always have to be prepared for slow times in business. Slow times in business can be very challenging. because all the overheads are always going to remain the same. When the sales are not there to keep up with it, it can be very, very challenging. Sometimes at certain parts of the year, we really have to know which item to stock a lot of, which item to not stock a lot of, so we don't have funds tied up in goods that aren't moving at that time. Have to be mindful of how many lights are left on all around the place that might not be needed at the time. You really have to be skillful with a lot of these things. Building a strong team is very important in any business. It can be one of the most challenging things to do because of the difference in personalities of people in the group. It has to be done because without that cohesion of everybody working together as one unit, then there is going to be some amount of problems or disarray within the group, and this is something that can be exposed to customers. Even if there's a problem within the business, when a customer comes in, it still has to be all is fine, the customer is number one, the service is up. Logistics is sometimes a problem in terms of sourcing things from certain places, getting it on time, especially sometimes when a customer has an urgent need. But it takes some amount of good planning. Logistics is sometimes a bit challenging in terms of getting the stuff you need when you need it and on time. Sometimes when you're importing stuff as well, getting all the permits. Boy, the permits to import some things, that can be a real hassle sometimes in terms of all the requirements they need. You give them one thing, then they say they want this and they want that and they want another thing. You're just laying out all the requirements that they need for all your permits and so on. Filling all those requirements step by step as you go along. Customer satisfaction is very high in our business. I think the first step to having a really satisfied customer is to understand the customer needs or wants or the problems, and then having a good solution or having the proper information to impart to that customer. Technology is very important in moving into the future for almost any business at all, because there is so much it can do in terms of even say social media, automation of processes within the business that could be simplified, using certain forms of technology that's maybe diversified for your kind of business. So it's to know what you want and how to apply the technology